Hi, I'm Trevor,
And I'm Nicole.
and we will be talking about the effects of stress on sexual patterns and drinking behaviors.
Our research questions are as followed on the screen. Firstly, does getting stressed easily predict having spent a lot of time drinking, planning how to get alcohol, or recover from a hangover? Secondly, does getting stressed easily influence how many vaginal intercourse partners you have? Thirdly, does getting stressed easily predict having spent a lot of time drinking, planning how to get alcohol, or recover from a hangover based off of how important religion is to you? And lastly, does getting stressed easily influence how many vaginal intercourse partners you have based off of how important religion is to you?
Our first hypothesis is that stress increases the likelihood that you have a period in which you spend a lot of time drinking. Our second hypothesis is that stress decreases the amount of vaginal sexual partners. Based off our research, we decided that stress typically decreases sexual frequency and increases drinking behavior. A person dealing with alcoholism has bad coping strategies, resulting in greater effect of stress on life. Stress is considered a negative emotion, and negative emotions lead to less sexual activity. Our research also showed that religion was a great coping strategy, as seen in AA and other social healing groups. This led to our hypothesis that the importance of religion decreases the likelihood you have a period in which you spend a lot of time drinking and decreases the amount of vaginal sexual partners.
In our sample of 6,504 respondents, 46% responded as male and 54% responded as female. The average age is 29 years old with a standard deviation of 1.76 and a range of 24 to 34 years of age. The distribution of age is relatively normal. About 69% responded as white and 32% responded as non-white.
In Chart 4, we saw that a vast majority of respondents claim that they do not get stressed easily. In Chart 5, we also saw that a majority of respondents indicated that they have not spent a lot of time drinking. In Chart 6, the average number of sexual partners is 9, in a range of 0 to 26. In Chart 7, an overwhelming majority of respondents stated that religion was important to the individual.
For our first bivariate analysis, we ran a chi-squared test to analyze our first research question, which is whether stress is a predictor of whether or not you spend a lot of time drinking. The Pearson chi-squared statistic of 8.72 is significant, which indicated that there is a difference between the two variables as seen in Chart 8. However, the relationship is very weak.
We also ran a t-test to examine if there is a relationship between getting stressed easily and the amount of vaginal sexual partners. Equal variances are assumed because Levine's test gave us a p-value greater than 0.05. The t-statistic of negative 1.012 is not significant, which shows that there is no difference between the two variables, as seen in Chart 9 with both of the mean numbers of sexual partners being 9.
As seen in Table 1, we ran a logistic regression to examine whether getting stressed easily is a predictor of drinking when considering age, race, and gender. The Hosmer and Leemshow test showed that the data was a good fit for the model. The Wald statistic was also significant, which means that as getting stressed easily increases, the probability of having spent a lot of time drinking also increases by 32%. The Nagle-Karki R-squared shows that 5.5% of the variation is explained in our model. We also ran a logistic regression to examine whether getting stressed easily is a predictor of drinking based on the importance of religion. The Hosmer and Leemshow test showed that the data was a good fit for the model. However, the Wald statistic was not significant, indicating that there is no significant interaction effect.
Also seen in Table 1, we ran a linear regression to analyze whether getting stressed easily is a predictor of the number of vaginal sexual partners when considering age, race, and gender. The data was a good fit for the model based off the ANOVA F statistic being significant. The T statistic is also significant, showing that as getting stressed easily increases, the number of vaginal sexual partners decreases by 0.125 partners. The R-squared shows that the model explains for 2.6% of the variation. We also ran a linear regression to analyze whether getting stressed easily is a predictor of the number of vaginal sexual partners based on the importance of religion. The data is a good fit for the model, as shown by the ANOVA F statistic being significant. However, the t-statistic is not significant, indicating that there is no significant interaction effect.
So just to recap, our first hypothesis of stress increasing the likelihood of having a period in which you spent a lot of time drinking was proven. Our bivariate analysis shows that there was a relationship, although that relationship was weak. The logistic regression shows that the relationship is positive and significant.
Our second hypothesis fails. Even though the linear regression of getting stressed easily in the number of sexual partners is significant, our bivariate test shows that there is no relationship. The bivariate test may not be reliable, since the Levene's test shows that equal variances are assumed. Regardless, there is no definitive proof that stress decreases the amount of sexual partners.
And then lastly, hypothesis 3 is also rejected due to our multivariate test showing that there is no significant interaction with our moderating variable of the importance of religion. Alcohol is a depressant and a terrible coping strategy. What ends up happening is a vicious cycle. The more you stress, the more inclined you feel to drink. By spending so much time drinking, you spend more time ignoring the problem, which makes the situation worse. As a result, you get more stressed.
A problem with our test of sex and stress was the variable we used. The variable we used did not account for the frequency one had sex. Instead, it only looked at the amount of sexual partners, which could be 1 or 0 in a given period of time. However, one can have sex with one partner multiple times over a small period of time. Even though religion can be important to one's life, that does not mean that it has a major role in your decision-making. Guilt can make one shut down in making a rational choice. There are other selfish reasons in which one may ignore their religious values. Society today does not hold religion in the same regard as it used to, which could have an effect on their results.
In conclusion, we found that stress does not hold as big of an impact as we once thought. We were surprised that there was a weak relationship between stress and drinking. We assumed that stress would be an indicator for drinking, since we have observed many people in the last week saying they needed a drink.
Negative emotions tend to make people want to be alone. Since stress is a negative emotion that can lead to more negative emotions, we figured that stress would decrease the amount of sex, and we were surprised that the results were inconclusive. Overall, we were fascinated by the social implications and the inconclusiveness of the study.